Comic book gimmicks, do they work? The comics that come with like an action figure come in the mail. Do they actually get people reading comic books and into it? Well, during my conversation with Angry Canadian, that actually came up. So here you go.
I appreciate it, Pops. And yeah, I am quite the noob when it comes to comics. I did grow up reading a specific comic line, but when it comes to Marvel or DC or even like Spawn comics, I'm very like unfamiliar with that. So it's pretty cool being able to dive into some of these big hitters, like kind of short story hitters, and
Mhm.
just get a deeper appreciation for like these superheroes and the storytelling that was done many years ago.
Yeah, I think it's really kind of cool to have got to meet you and kind of get to know you and what your interest is. I know we've messaged back and forth a little bit, and what is your experience even when you were younger as far as anything that you ever really read or your superhero exposure and that kind of thing? Was it just mostly through television and movies, or what was some of the things that you had in your background that kind of even like has your interest peaked?
So when I was a kid, the comic line that I read was from the Lego toy known as Bionicle, and
Yeah.
about every 2 months, Lego would send you a magazine if you sign up for it, and it would have like the latest products and some kid stuff in it. But there always came with this Bionicle uh, comic, and thoroughly enjoyed that because it was just like something I was into at the time, the storytelling and everything. And I still have some of those today and whatnot. And so I read that consistently. I missed out on I think the first several years because I was too young, but I read pretty much from I don't know, maybe 2005 all the way up until it finished in 2010. And then when it came to superheroes, I was at the right age when the Tobey Maguire movies came out for
Hmm.
Spider-Man, so, like, I had, like, the Spider-Man birthday parties and all that stuff, so I always had a love for Spider-Man from a young age, but I never read any of the comics, and I've only seen the movies at the time, so it wasn't until I was probably about a teenager, and there was, like, a library summer reading program, and I won like a Marvel comic, like a graphic novel of some sorts. And I don't think I still have it, but it was just like a bunch of random stories in it from the Marvel universe, and they had like Spider-Man, and there was also Magneto with Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver in it. And again, I don't remember what specific stories there were. So at that time, I was pretty interested in a little bit in superheroes, but not like super invested. But when MCU came out originally with like Iron Man and Thor and Captain America, that's when I really got interested into the superhero space. And I had friends at work that were like diehard like superhero fans. They read the comics, they knew everything, and so I would just like listen to them talk and learn stuff here and there. But yeah, I never really read comics even as an adult, like these type of comics, until just recently, because I've been hanging out with you guys and watching your guys' videos and learning about some of these these big name big stories out there that are like 4 issues or whatever. Yeah, so this is the Bionicle comic.
Bionicle 2005, 2001. This is really OG.
Yeah, and this was like the highlight of my every 2 months, I guess you could say. So but yeah, the art in this, like the first couple years, the art in this was just fantastic. It was really detailed and a lot of good coloring and stuff. And then they kind of did an art style change in like 2004, I want to say, to 2005. And then they did another art style change in 2006, and then they just pretty much kept it like that. But
There's your toys. Yeah,
yeah, yep,
there's your toys.
yeah. So I really enjoyed it, and that was, like, the only comics I read, so and then also the random, like, Christian comics or, like, I don't know, random comics I would find at the library that were just there to look at. Anyways, but yeah, Bionicle was, 100% what I read.
No, I think I mean, that's really kinda how most of it started. We ended up with some sort of introduction, right? And, you're older like I am. It was like one of these things where back then, they were in, like, grocery stores and stuff, right? So, it was like thrift stores and grocery stores and things like that. So, you pretty much would find things, and I have to admit that Marvel had kind of a big marketing push back then. And then, of course, the Batman, that cheesy Adam West show, right, had
Mm,
sort of a
yes.
legacy behind it. And then once you get to like 1978, right after Star Wars was when Superman came out. So there was sort of like I grew up in this era where this stuff was sort of like just kind of permeated our culture, and then it kind of fizzled out for a little bit, and then you have Batman 89, then that kind of fizzled out. Then you have the Spider-Man surge with the Toby films and things like that. So it's kind of like a little bit of a roller coaster ride. So it's not uncommon for me to run across someone like you who's like, well, I kind of know this or I kind of know that, but I've never really kind of been into it. But I want to learn about a good story or something interesting. So
Yeah. Right?